Happy New Year to the 29ers. It's the Competitive Cribbage Podcast. Jason Matheny here from the mothership in disappointingly warm Houston, Texas. I did not get to jump on a plane last weekend and play any cards. ... Be really weird if you didn't after me giving you that intro, Terry. How was the trip?
It was good. It was good. I was just sitting on my couch, minding my own business at 1:30 a.m. on Wednesday. And I think it was Wednesday. And 48 hours later, a little over that, I guess, I was in a town called Baraboo, Wisconsin, which is just north of Madison.
Mm. Hey, thanks for the invite, by the way, guys. Like, I didn't hear about this tournament till like you were on the plane. Like, apparently there was a cheap flight you found and like did the stuff. And yeah, tell me all about it.
I could have done it for $150 cheaper, but I would have had to have gone a day earlier, which would have cut into my Uber night on New Year's Eve. And I was considering that flight, and the first one was at 8 a.m. and that's what I was looking at. And my girlfriend's like, that's tomorrow, right? Because when you're only an Uber driver, you forget what day it is. You work when you want and all that. And I'm like, oh, that's not going to work, is it? So I elected to go on Friday. I found a flight that landed at 10:08 a.m. and the tournament started at noon, and it was about 50 minutes from the airport. And David Aiello was decent enough to come get me. And
Leadfoot action? He drive like an Indy car or something like that, or?
I thought he was smooth, actually.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Good. Glad you got there safe. And then I guess I don't know. I feel like I feel ingenuine asking you questions that I actually know the answers to, but I suppose that things went okay for you this weekend.
Friday was good. Yeah. So that was a 12-game main. There was no consolation, which I love, by the way. I know I had to fly, so it essentially, didn't matter a ton, but we had one in Virginia Beach in February with a 16-game main, no consi. That started at noon as well. And I was able to just get there, drive up that day, which was nice. So I like these noon starts. But anyway, I start out, I'm 0-2, and that's not good if it's a 12-game main.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I mean, 0-2 is a bad start if it's a 200-game main, but like that's, I mean, but go on. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So I end up kind of grinding along. I needed a skunk in there to maybe get 15. I skunked Chad Frischman, ironically, the guy who reached out
to me into showing up. Yeah.
Talked me into buying a plane ticket, and was my roommate, by the way. And, we had a good weekend. Chad's a good roommate. And anyway, I ended up with a 15-7 with a plus 49. And there was one game in there. It was game 10, I think, where I just epically blew it. I was playing a guy named Lou Gurney, and he was like, he must have been maybe 6 points out or something. I'm like 15 back. So he's 116 and I'm 106. And he was very cautious. He took a long time to discard. We cut the deck. I forget what it was, but he very cautiously ran through the pegging, and we were after the go, and I had a 9 and a 3 left, and he was holding 10 Jack, and it seemed obvious that he probably didn't have enough because of how slow he was playing. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, I dumped my 3 first, and then he paired it. And which was big because he was, even though he only had 2 points,
yeah.
Well, he got him 2 from the end because he had 2 in his hand. He pegged the 2, and I got last card. I might have got 15 for 3 actually with that 9. And so he ended up pegging out on the next hand with his last card that he had left, which was a 5. So that was my 5th loss. So I'm thinking I'm probably out. I need to win the next 2 for 15. I did win the next 2. I had like I said, a plus 49, and I didn't feel great about it.
I mean, you got to feel like a 16 is usually the line in a 12. In fact, I got in once with a with a 16-6, not just a dirty card, a filthy card, I would call that one, in a 12 gamer. So yeah, 15's real dicey and snuck in there.
I did. And I found out not long after I left the room, there were 2 15 cards below me. So I'm thinking, okay, now I'm liking my odds a little bit more. And but it's still not super optimistic. I think I went out to eat somewhere, and Chad texted me and said you were the last qualifier basically to get in. So I thought, yeah. And my playoff run was stressful as hell. I didn't get a bye, obviously.
It's just 2 out of 3 in those, right? Is that how those work? They're just 2 out of 3, or they're still 3 out of 5? Okay.
3 out of 5. And all of my matches went the distance except for one, which went a very stressful 4 games. And my opponents in order were Jim Huser, who I was not familiar with. His nickname is Little Moose. Then another central guy who plays sporadically, kind of a younger guy. His name's Mike Grage. Dave Aiello gave him tons of praise, pointed him out to me, and said if this guy would play more, he would win tons of tournaments. So I went all 5 games with them. Then I played Al Pernasek, and that was the 4-game one, but very tactical, stressful all the way through. Lots of close games. And then I had to play Les Caveen in the final. And I texted Rob. I texted the group chat, actually. I said, he's the last guy I want to see in this thing. Like, he was the scariest guy in the brackets to me, anyway. And he had knocked me out of Final Four to a consolation in Iowa, which was like an epic slugfest of a match. 2 highly aggressive players just going after it. And so I had to face him in the final. I win game 1, lose game 2. Game 3, I'm in the 106 hole again, or 116 actually. No.
Okay.
I can't do math. I'm in the 105 hole. That's where I am. So I'm 16 out. He is, I think he's behind me or something, maybe just a little behind me. So I just need to have average hands here. That's all I need, and I'm probably going to win. And I had to hold 3, 4, 7, 9. And I threw Queen King to the crib.
Just nice hand. Yeah, good
ugly hand. We cut a queen or a king, and I pegged nothing, or my mandatory one rather.
Yep.
And then I had 2 in the crib, so I was in the 108 hole, 13 out, and lose that game. And at that point, I'm like, I'm done.
Oh, it's over. Yeah, that was the one.
Normally, I don't think like that. Normally, I've been pretty good the last several years, just reining it back in, just focus. I'm not out until I'm out type thing. But I just felt for some reason this impending doom just came over me. But luckily, I had nothing but very good to amazing cards the next 2 games. And we got into a couple of pegging wars and late in those 2 games. Or maybe it was late in the last game. It was 2 pegging wars in the last game, and that kind of sealed it for me. But just stressful as hell. But it was my 20th win. On Saturday, I came close to qualifying. I had a bad first half, bad game 1 through 11. I kind of clamped down, won a bunch of games. I got really unlucky in game 20. I was playing Wendy Pitts, and she was in the 84 hole dealing. I'm not deep into 4th Street, but far enough ahead that I'm only worried about her getting a big hand. She held 2 7s, 2 8s, cut a 6. I don't remember what the crib was, but she was in the 110 hole, picked up a 10 hand, only needed to peg 1, managed to do it. So that was just a brutal, epic collapse. And so I just got a little unlucky there. And then in the next game, again against Jim Huser, I screwed that up, I think. We're both tied in the 92 hole. His crib, so I'm just hoping to not get destroyed pegging and not to, hopefully just doesn't get a big hand. I had ace 6, 6, 8. I wanted to lead the 6, but I led the ace. And then where the fatality came in was he played a 3 on it. I played a 6.
Oh, instead of the 8 there.
Yeah, I think the 8 might have saved me. It would have held him to maybe a couple of points
Do
pegging,
you have like
but
3, 4, 5, 6 or something? Or like I feel like you can get banged up pretty good if you have a or 3, 4, 5, 7, maybe something like that. But if you have one of those combos with those, it can go real ugly.
well, he had 3, 3, 5, 7. So when I
Oh
made it
yeah.
10, he took the 15. I had no choice but to, well, I guess I played my 8. I could have played my 6, but he was going to have the 7 anyway to score off of it. And I blew that one. That was entirely my fault. And so just give me back one of those 2 wins, one against Jim, one against Wendy, and I'm in. But so I got off to such a great start. I got nothing to complain about. And the consolation on Sunday, I just wasn't super competitive.
Yeah,
Right
I
out
mean
of the gate.
nine games. What are you gonna do? But
Yeah.
it's one of those. You lucky you got in on the front because like when you miss by especially the self-inflicted wounds, right? The ones where you feel like you could have done something a little differently or whatever it is. And, one game short. I think we can almost all agree is like the brutal spot. But hey, like a little bit of luck on your side to get in, and the other one, another win. So you said you are now 20-4 in tournament finals.
Yeah.
You feel like, have you always been this way in your life? Or you like, just, I don't know, like kid in Little League or whatever it is? Like, were you the one that just, when a big spot showed up, the world slows down for you? Are you one of those? Or it's like, I've been pretty lucky in finals too. And I worry about the pendulum swinging back there.
Yeah. I really, honestly, I was never super great at anything in my life. I mean, I was kind of average as an athlete. And
No, but I mean, but in the big moments, because I feel like everybody, right? If you played any kind of Little League or you played any kind of, I don't know, bowling or whatever it is, right? Like if you tend to come through in the big spots, the clutch, right, is what they call that.
yeah.
Like, again, clutch can just be like results. I feel like it is so overdone, the idea of people being, especially athletes, being clutch players, choking and this and that. Sometimes people are just unlucky, right? Michael Jordan, they say, is like the most like clutch player and this and that. And it's like, maybe not. I don't know. But is it one of those where you feel like you have that clutch gene? Or is that you and just, or is no, just cribbage and finals?
I feel a lot of pressure, honestly. And I don't think it messes with me, but I don't go into it thinking, it's a foregone conclusion that I'm going to win this. I never.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think that either. And let me define, right? This is like a whole episode in itself, like defining like clutch and things like that. I don't think it's like a cockiness or a confidence or a swagger about it. I just think there are some people when the chips are down in the big moments, like the world slows down for them, right? That they maybe like, and like nerves can be a good thing, right? Nerves can make you think better or stronger. And it can be the other way too, right? There's some people where like when you get nervous, it throws you off and you don't think as clearly. You don't make the same decisions that you would and things like that. So I think that's how I see like clutch versus choke, which again is a very sports thing that like I think is very, very overdone. So I don't know, just like
honestly, I don't know. I mean, cribbage is the only thing. So
I mean, you have to be at least like less nervous now than maybe like your first final, right? Like seat time matters. I always say that's one of my like, if Gurdon's thing is right, like you always need a skunk. I feel like one of mine is seat time matters. The more you do it, the easier it gets, the less like nerve wracking it is. I would think.
Honestly, I hate to lose, so I don't. I get exactly what you're saying, and I think there are some people who can slow it down and get more hyper focused in the moment to optimize everything. But I'm just kind of in my own rhythm, and not even that long ago, I was playing Larry Pfeiffer in a Final Four, and I'd played Larry tons of times in the playoffs by then, and for some reason, like the games were just close and weird stuff was happening, like low percentage stuff kept happening, and my hands were shaking, and I'd won probably 16 or 17 tournaments by then. And that's just how I get.
Okay. I mean, that's okay. Like and there's, like I said, for anybody listening, it's whatever you are, right? Like if you're nervous in a moment, if your hands shake, if you this, if you that, that's fine. If it, like, I don't ever want it to like affect somebody in a negative way, right? Like I don't want to, and I think that's where part of this comes in, right? Like if I see somebody I'm playing and they're like visibly nervous, maybe this is, I lack killer instinct because of this, right? Like I want to win based on my own skill, not because somebody's thrown off by the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, I mean, I'd go like super far out of my way to like make them like comfortable, but like, I'm not going to seek to make them uncomfortable. So,
right. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think my aggressive style does mess with people.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's fine. I think it is okay for the way you play, right? You pair a lead card like third hand in a row or something like that, and all of a sudden there's an online player who you may have mentioned you played today that like when I did that too, just kept pairing lead cards, they didn't care for it, and they let me know. So I think that's perfectly okay. If anything, it's something we kind of stumbled into on this show is like there's like an ethics in certain things of like how you play, at least in my mind, right? And it's like I think some people are a little more cutthroat than I am and believe in being cutthroat of like if you're playing a newer player and they are nervous, and I don't know, like they seem like they might screw up counting a hand or like a pegging thing, right? If there's like a weird run in there, right? Like whether or not you like give that person that, and I think in like tournament cribbage probably not, but like there's things you can do to like make people less comfortable if that's your goal, right? To try to throw people off. And I think that can be done. And like, to me, that's a line that like, I don't cross, that I don't think is okay, but there's no like rule against that, right? It's just like, there's stuff in the rule book saying things like that, but that's not an enforceable thing.
Yeah, I don't try to mislead people or intimidate them to try to gain an advantage or do anything to manipulate things. I don't believe in that. The vibe is always going to be good when you're playing me.
Yeah. All right. I would love to. Oh, I bet there's some people that disagree with that. I bet I'd love to hear from the Terry's enemies. What's the 92ers, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, well, I never react like, oh, what a cut that was, or for them, and I never react to anything. Like when I take a bad beat, I keep quiet. It is what it is.
I mean, I think we've done this on the show before, right? Like, so there have been times any of us have been like maybe not at our best, and like those things happen. And we did the pet peeve show too. The nice cut in that like mean way when somebody's pissed off.
Yeah,
is one of my like pet peeves. Like it's just when somebody does that, it's like, okay, you're just an a-hole. Like it's just, oh, nice cut. Oh, okay. Like, all right, thanks for that. So, all right, let's move forward here. Well, congrats, man. That was awesome. I'm all fired up because I've got like a countdown clock going. I'm like 9 days until leaving for Fort Walton Beach, Florida. So I get to, like play live cribbage that isn't just like grassroots. I get to play tournament cribbage for the first time since, I don't know, like Grand National. So it's like I'm all like jazzed up and ready to do it. You're missing that one. And a certain, well, we'll get to that part in the mailbag. Those who are disappointed in you for perhaps not being in attendance for that one.
I know who that's going to be.
Gee, and no guesses at all there. All right, so let's get to the fantasy draft, and I have no way to like smoothly transition to this. So what we decided to do for this week is maybe kind of a look back, a bit sentimental, if you will. And it's a new year is turned over, and I feel like we all kind of, I don't know, like at the end of the year, right? A lot of times people think about certain people and certain things, and those who aren't with us, and somebody suggested to it, I forget if it was you or if it was like Voldemort that like brought this up, but it was like players you miss playing who are not around anymore.
Yeah, Voldemort had that idea.
Yeah. So I detest to give him any credit in the whole world, but I guess we will in this one. But that's going to be the fantasy draft this week. So we will try not to make this too morose, hopefully in more tribute than anything. And this is definitely a good topic for the mailbag. So please, if you have players that you miss playing, right, whether it be because they're not with us anymore, because they, something else, right? Maybe a physical limitation that stops people from playing or whatever it is. We'd love to hear it. cribbagepodcast@gmail.com. But in this case, I did take it as at least entirely, my list is those who are currently expired. And I don't mean their ACC membership. So, all right. So I have the nickel of destiny here, and I'm going to flip it and let you call it again, Terry. What do you call it? Sticking heads. Change it up. Okay. It is a head. So if do you want the first pick or you want the turn?
I'm gonna take the first pick.
All right. So with the first pick, who do you miss playing the most?
I miss one of my best friends in cribbage. He passed away only a year ago, but hadn't been playing for a while. I don't know if he played after the pandemic, but that would be Brian Bear. He came from that Central New Hampshire club, might have been Hudson, New Hampshire. And one of the earlier people I met in cribbage, fairly on the younger side back then. One of my earlier playoff matches was also against him. He beat me in that, but just a really nice guy, great vibe, big baseball fan like I am. So, we talked a lot and we continued to text, not every day or necessarily every week, but, maybe a couple times a month, up until his passing. And I would love to play him at least one more time if I could.
Yeah. Brian I knew him like a little bit. And he'd reach out. I think we had emailed a little bit here or there. Like really, really sweet, nice guy. Nothing but positive things. He's one of those people like in the community that I don't think I'd ever seen like angry or tilted or anything, but just like kind. And that's a trait that is admirable for anyone. So yeah, I think that's a great shout for the first pick. All right. For my first pick, I don't see how I don't take Dylan Colvert with my first pick. I didn't get to play Dylan many times, but I'll never forget the time I beat him. And I remember the time I like met him, and it was, it's like a living legend, right? Like and I remember being like in awe and like, wow, it's Dylan. Like it's Dylan Colvert. Oh my God, the guy that wrote the book, right? That did the thing that, won all these like championships and this and that. And, he's certainly an older guy by the time like I got to play him. But yeah, I feel like if I could play, it's particularly in his prime, like a best of 7 or like a Raleigh series against Dylan. Oh man, that's like the dream. So I got to take him with the first pick. And with my second pick, I got a few things to choose from here. I'm going to take Dave Campbell with my second pick. And in particular, we mentioned that the criteria for this is people you miss playing, and Campbell, who's, president of the organization, right? You got to give him credit for all the work that he put in and all the things he did. He was one of the few people that could throw me off, and that I have like a way that I play. I think I play pretty fast. Sometimes I could slow my game down. Depends on like what I'm trying to do and this and that. But like, there weren't many people that the speed that they played the game threw me off, and Campbell was one of them. And I felt like every time I played him, something just felt off in my game. And it wasn't something he was doing. He's just doing his thing, playing his thing. He was always perfectly kind and everything else. Like I wouldn't go as far as to call like Dave and I friends. We knew each other, but but yeah, if I could like play him more and just like, I felt like I would learn more things from that. And the one that I'll remember about playing Dave is I was playing him in game 22 of the Grand National in Oregon, in Lincoln City, Oregon. And I was kind of on the bubble and playing him, and I, like a win would get me probably in, but a skunk would definitely get me in. And it got right down to the wire on that. And I had like a 1-card decision that would determine whether or not I got the skunk. And I like played it right. And he was very complimentary and kind about it and everything. So it was one of those, I felt like I finally like slayed the dragon, this guy that kind of just threw me off, and I felt like I played my game that day, but I'd love to play him some more games. So I feel like when we're talking about, people that have, gone from us, that I'd love to have a match against, it's certainly one I think of.
Dave actually taught me the ace 4, 5, 6 peg air lead the ace, and then let the rest of it kind of materialize. So that's the one thing I took from him. Also, I played him in the playoffs maybe 4 or 5 times. He beat me every single time, and every single time it went the full distance. So I felt like I might actually beat, one of the best players in my region, and I just kept coming up short. The very first time, it was my inexperience that got me. I still remember the hand to this day. I was 7 out, had 2, 3, 4 face, missed the cut. It must have been like a 7.
7, yeah.
Yeah. And if I would have just led my face, I win. I would have pegged at least 2, but I just, back when you're new, I think you habitually will lead the 3, to try to set up the 15. And he was able to get around me somehow, but
he was sneaky. He's a good player. I don't think anybody doesn't think he was a good player. But and of course, like again, admiration for anybody who's has to go through all the work to be the president of this organization. Oh my God. Like, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Back to me. So I am going to take, I don't know if you knew this guy. He was definitely a giant in the East, especially on the board of directors, but that is Charlie Finley. He passed away, I think, in early 2015, and I had really only gotten to know him well, probably the last year of his life, and was an absolute gentleman to play. Whenever I would call, I've always paid at the door. I have mailed very few checks to a tournament director unless they absolutely force me to. And then I got to spend 45 minutes looking for wherever the hell my checkbook is.
I keep my checkbook. Literally, it's the only cribbage tournament's the only thing I write checks for. So
exactly. But it would turn into a 30-minute conversation on the phone. And he was just a nice guy. I think, and maybe I'm guilty of it too at this point in my life, but when you see a young person come in the room, not everybody's going to be the most approachable to you, And so, but he was from right out of the gates. So I appreciated that. And that was a profound loss when it happened in New England. Maybe only Campbell's in the time I've been playing has been as big, as Charlie's. So Charlie's my second pick. Number 3, very few people are going to know this guy. Some New England players will remember him. His name was Elijah White. He was from Maine, played in my grassroots club. Another guy, kind of quiet and just kind of blended in, but he would show me some things here and there. And where I had baseball with Brian, I had NASCAR with Elijah. And just a nice guy. He passed away very suddenly of a heart attack. No one really saw it coming. We had just seen him at the previous grassroots. And so it was quite a shock to hear that he had passed. He had come over my house a few times, or actually it was technically an apartment back then, to play my weekly poker game. So and they weren't married, but him and Sue Cousins, now her last name is Sue Janes, but so they were a couple for probably a good decade or so. But yeah, so anyway, I had to put Elijah on my list.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know Elijah, of course, and I'd heard Charlie Finley's name, but I did not I never had the pleasure of meeting him. But I'm glad that you had these experiences with these folks, some very positive experiences, and I think it's something to think about with all these and hopefully I don't know, stuff like that for me is stuff I try to think about when I'm ticked off or tilted or whatever it is. What experiences am I giving those around me, and how will I be remembered from those things? And maybe just a lesson for us all. All right. So my last 2 that I'm going to take here. So my third pick, I'm going to take Leanne Kai.
Good.
And yeah. Right. And Leanne gone far too soon. She died just a couple of years ago. And it's kind of funny because is one of those where, I heard that she had a couple of health issues and this and that. And she and I would text here and there and this and that. She lived in the Dallas area, and we kind of, I always remember we were there was a tournament in Nacogdoches, Texas, which I don't know if anybody really knows where that is, but it's a college town. It's where Stephen F. Austin University is. And like we had an event and it was looking like for the Sunday event, it was like 2 one-dayers. And we had a couple people leave after Saturday, and they were going to be a player short of having it. And I texted Leanne, and she's gonna have to be there at like 8:00 in the morning on like a Sunday. And Dallas is not super close to Nacogdoches, and she drove the like 3.5, 4 hours, whatever it was, to like get there and like played. And I remember telling her I owed her like a bottle for that. And I don't know if I ever got to chance to like pay off that bottle. But like just a fun person, hilarious, like just a tough player too. She's no joke. Like you sit down to play Leanne, like you had to be on your game. So yeah, gone too soon. Just really, really nice person. So
I got to play her a few times because she went up to New England for a couple of the clusters, and really nice. I had a playoff match against her as well, so I got to play a few games there. Yeah, kind of a shock as well to lose her that young.
Yeah. I think also in the Sacramento Grand National, if I'm not mistaken, and I hope I'm not mistaken here with somebody else, but I want to say she had just one of these like monster scorecards. I think she was like high qualifier in that main with like a 40 something or whatever it is. So she's a tough player. All right. And then my last pick, I can't not do this. Anybody that knows me understands some of the background and some of the things that I've been through in my life. Like I was married previously, and so I have to take Jennifer Matheny, which is my ex-wife, for those that don't know, who passed away in 2020. To transparency, right? We had already split up. We were no longer together. We were married for 11 years, together for 14. But gosh, if I could, and certainly divorces, most of the time they don't end very well, and that was certainly the case with her and I. But yeah, if I could have some cribbage games with her, we played. I'm sure that I will end my life with me playing Jen more than anybody else in my whole life. We kept books of our matches. We would play a series to 100. And I think before we split up, we had 6 of those, and we would like track stats within the like number of muggins and number of these other things. And I don't know, it just became kind of our, like we moved cross country from the DC area to the LA area. And that's when we really started playing cribbage together. And she was the one that found the grassroots club when we moved to Houston. So I don't know if I'd be in the ACC if it weren't for her. So like, again, make no bones about that. By the end, we were not buddies. But shoot, if I could play some games against cribbage with her again, I certainly would. So without being too morose about that, I have to, like, I'm not being genuine if I don't mention her in this light. So
I never met her, but
she's a tough player, Terry. She never read a cribbage book in her whole life. And I always swore to her, if she read one, she'd been like tip-top player because she was so good at reading people, but she didn't know how to do the numbers of it. And
I'm sorry, did she ever play poker? Was that a thing?
Yeah.
Or?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That sounds like probably the natural game for her, but all right. So I gotta take a player from the South to round out mine. I'm gonna go with Richard Dacey.
Okay.
Who was like the Rain Man of the ACC, and not just the ACC, but probably sports in general. Another guy we didn't really expect to lose. He was in his 70s, but had just had some procedures done and seemed to have a positive outlook, and unfortunately passed away in his sleep. I think a little over a year ago, but just another guy, great vibe. You're always happy to see him, and you never knew what kind of a story you were going to get from him. But I'll definitely miss that.
He was definitely somebody the first time I met him. I mean, I would see him at the Raleigh tournament, and he was a character that's almost like beyond description. I guess he was kind of a savant. I'd heard he was in like Mensa. And for those that never met Richard, he had a very deep accent. I remember I always had trouble understanding him. That was how like thick the accent was and the way he spoke. And he had like a big beard and like, I think he's missing a couple of teeth and stuff like that, but just like a savant. But again, right, knew everything there ever was about like baseball. Like he saw my last name and wanted to have this big long conversation about like the baseball manager with my last name and this and that. And after a little while, like I'd be like, "Hey, Richard, can we just play?" Like, so yeah, that's a good shout on that one. I'd completely forgotten about him. When I made my list, like there's definitely a lot more. I'm going to run through some of them real quick here. Did you have any like others that you wanted to mention?
A few. Dave O'Neill, another Southern player, passed away right around the same time as Richard, also somewhat unexpectedly. Carl Diet was, a pretty big player up in New England, not only for performance, but directed a ton of tournaments out of the Hartford, Connecticut area. When I got my first win, he was one of my opponents in that bracket that I had to go through. And then lastly, another gentleman named Ron Allard, who also from Maine, but traveled to a lot of the New England area tournaments, was also a big fixture on Cribbage Pro up until he passed. So, and he was a big Red Sox guy like me. So a very grandfatherly type guy to me, honestly. So those are the ones I came up with. If I dug through all the standings, I probably could have come up with a bunch more.
Yeah, it was one of those, like when I was kind of creating this, like there isn't like a great way to pull these. So there's probably people I'm forgetting. So please hit the mailbag for that one, cribbagepodcast@gmail.com with your memories. Let me just give a couple of quick shouts. Mel Ashley was a West Coast player. He was a super nice guy. Henry Douglas, like everybody knows Henry forever.
Henry.
Yeah. Jim Lunder, from the Florida area, was a fantastic player, really soft-spoken, but very, very nice guy. Harold Cook, I don't know if you ever played Cookie, they called him.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Cookie. Cookie whooped my ass the one time I played him, and like he, it's just one of those where like, because of some of his physical limitations, I thought, oh, okay, I'm playing this anchor guy. No, his mind was sharp. He whooped my ass real good. Let's see who else. Earl Baum is a guy from the Houston club that was a very, very, very good player, kind of a character in itself. And the last I'll mention is John Kern, who was a West Coast guy from San Diego. He played a lot online. He had the handle John in San Diego, John in SD, and was just one of those really, like you mentioned, like Brian Bear, like kind of similar personality, like really, really sweet guy. It's very prominent in like the online crib. He was one of the first people, like when I went to Reno and sat and he wrote on the back of his scorecard, like his handle on there. I'm like, oh yeah, I play online too. I'm, JMath or whatever it is on there. And I don't know, he was super nice guy, but yeah, that's just, again, our community, right? Small. I feel like, right. Every month in Cribbage World, there's the, in memory of, so I'm sure there are some people we are forgetting. So again, please hit the mailbag for those, but just thoughts for those ones. So we miss all of them. And yeah. All right. I don't really have a smooth transition to the mailbag, right? When you talk about morose things like that, you just kind of move on and do the things. Let me see what we have here. I'm going to give a shortened version. Daryl, and again, I think I got the name right, Desjardins, reached out and he wrote another book. He is a very, very talented writer, but I don't think I can read the whole thing. But he mentions some of his New Year's resolutions. He mentions get better at discarding, paying better attention to pegging. What is it? Play often, but don't play on autopilot. I thought that was interesting. His thought. Let me expand on that. He says, casual kitchen games are fun, but they can also be where bad habits grow. I've got to just slow down a little bit, take a few seconds for each discard or peg, actually think it through. Players don't need to turn every game into a math exam, but a small pause can make a big difference. I think that's really, really good advice and that's for every level, because I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Eric Locke, and maybe he won't see this, but like, I think all of us have made a mistake for maybe playing a little too quickly or not taking the requisite time here or there. He's also mentions lose better and says, above all, never forget why I'm playing. Cribbage is a social game at heart. Enjoy the trash talk, the groans over a 0-point hand, and the absolute joy of watching someone count a perfect 29. In the words of my friend and senior judge, Keith Widener, let's have fun. Wins are nice, but good company and making friends are better. Well said. Well said. Says, see you both soon, Terry in Asheville, Jason in Fort Walton Beach. And Jason, by the way, my last name is pronounced like a news gamer proclaiming this just in Desjardins. No harm, no foul. Look at that. Hey, that's nailed it.
Daryl's an awesome guy, awesome vibe, and I don't think he loses as graciously as anyone. So
it's something to be said about the people, right? That it's like the look on their face, they could be 12-0 or 0-12. Like you wouldn't know. Yeah. And that is something that like like I don't know if I'm like number one in the entire ACC, but I feel like most of that stuff's written on my face pretty good. I feel like you walk over, you see where I'm at, kind of don't even need to look at the scorecard. So all right. Let me see what else. A handful more entries into the long match, which we'll again have more details on very soon. Kevin Imlinger reached out, and this was cool. He took a screenshot of the actual podcast, and I guess the moment that it happened. And I had a real ugly look on my face at this point. So your screenshot game, maybe work it a little better, Kevin. But he, in one of the hands, in fact, I don't know if it's easier for us to just pull this up, but it was your opponent's crib. And assuming we held 4-5-5-6 was where we ended up with on this. That's not the important part. But what he asked is, assuming you keep 4-5-5-6, why wouldn't you lead the 6? So I have my answer on that, but I assume we're kind of in line on this, right? So,
I mean, I just feel like you could. I mean, you could get paired or 15'd. I just think the 4 is the safer lead. You can get absolutely destroyed no matter how you lead that hand, though.
I agree with everything you said. The only thing I'll add is that if you lead the 6 and they play a face, then you absolutely, right? That you can't play a 5 at that point. So you take that 5 in the second play. And so at that point, if your opponent has all faces, you get mashed up pretty good there. So
at least what, 7? Something
like that. I think it's less. I think it's
5 or
if it's
7.
If it's all faces, I believe it would be 5. If it's faces and 5s, well, depending on how many 5s, it could be real ugly. So appreciate the question on that one, Kevin. But yeah, I think the 4 lead is there just usually, and maybe this is your philosophy, but most of the time, if I'm non-dealer, like my goal, especially if I have a hand like 4-5-5-6, is to just limit damage and pegging. Like, right when I'm dealing, I'm trying to take, but when I'm non-dealer, my goal is to try to limit like how bad it gets. Because I don't care how good you are, nobody is net positive, and pegging is non-dealer. It's just not a thing in this game.
It's a great hand to have, but as pwn, you're probably not going to peg well with it, and it sucks because sometimes you need to peg well with it, in certain situations. So you just can't.
Agreed. And from Jamie Fincher, had a question about the Fort Walton tournament and just said simply, also give Terry lots of shit for not coming. Done and done. Yeah, what the heck, man?
Well, I'll have Bob Milk get in touch with her, and
so what? Drive your ass down. What's your problem, man? Like, you can do both.
All right, I'll make a deal.
Yeah.
If I win one of the Asheville tournaments or destroy the side pools, I will drive to Fort Walton.
All right. Breaking news. I need like a breaking news sounder. For when this happens on the podcast. Yeah. So yeah, that's right. You win one of the Asheville tournaments, or all right, yeah, you truck on down, or try to find a cheap flight or something like that. Although there's 3 airports, man. You can find one of them with a reasonable flight. Just saying.
Possibly. I mean, sometimes it's hard a week out, but I did do it this past weekend. So
yeah, just see what you can do. All right. Just fair enough. All right. Let's get to the hands because we have a bunch of them this week. Thank you to the mailbag for those that submitted hands. I think I have all of them here. And here's the screen share. I think I did it right this time. Look at that. Like we look like we are ready to go. Well, I still screwed it up just a little bit. We're going to fix this on the fly, folks. Makes for a very exciting show when I'm making adjustments as we go. There we go. Okay.
good. Yeah.
Perfect. Look at that. My technology is excellent. All right, this comes from Mike Krum. By the way, very nice guy. I like Mike. He's a West Coast guy. Hopefully I get to see him before too long, maybe for Reno, who knows. So you are first count in hole 32. Your opponent is dealing in hole 49. And the hand you are dealt is 2-2-2-7-8-9. So already in a tough spot in this one, right? Like question is like, what can you do to not make it worse? Or at that point, are you just shooting for everything?
I mean, there's two ways to go here. You can toss 2 of the deuces, or you can toss 7, 9.
I think there's a third answer, possibly, but
Is there?
Generally you're right. I don't think you can consider 2 2s here, but
honestly, I'm probably just gonna throw 7, 9. You hope for the 3 or the 5. The 5 might hurt because it might help his hand.
Although you got 7, 9 in the crib though at that point, right? It's kind of a 5 buster.
It could be, yeah. I just figure if it's not going to help one of his hands, it'll help the crib or vice versa. But you got to go 7, 9 here, and chances are you're probably not going to get destroyed pegging, and hopefully he just ends up with a couple of just a mediocre deal in general, I would say.
Okay. I do agree. We're going to mark this down as an agree. So they just after last week, right? Last week was kind of a problem. But no, I agree. I think the 7-9 is really the only way to go here. I think you can make a case. It's a little too early, but if you kind of advance down the board, like similar ratios here, right? At some point, maybe 7-8 goes into the equation here, right? Holding 2 more points. It's risky, but right, you've got to cut at 20, right? At some point, you have to make a stand. I would probably want a better spot, but I just think that one's worth considering. Maybe you can make a case for 8-9 here too, right? For that same reason you're talking about, like just more cuts, right? 6 gets you to 12, 4 gets you to 12, versus if you're holding 2-2-2-8, right? Like the 5 kind of hurts you as much as it helps you in a spot like this. So I do think the hold is 2-2-2-8 here, but I think they're just like 2-2. I just don't think even comes into my mindset on this one. It's just, pun not intended, too dangerous for when you're already like way behind in this spot. Not to mention you're only holding 5, right? You're holding 5 and tossing 2 points. Like, no thanks. Like, at least if I hold 2-2-2-9, I'm holding 8 and tossing 2.
So sometimes players will, if you're holding the deuces and the 8, a lot of players will play a 5 or an 8 on it. So it might be a good opportunity to peg a couple, and who knows, maybe you'll get your 2 deuces in late.
Yeah, and for my opinion, tell me if you think I'm wrong here. In this spot, if I'm holding 2-2-2-8, I think people will try to get a little sneakier than they need to and lead an 8 from that spot, which to me is just, it's like you're never going to get in all. I mean, yes, there is a scenario where you can get in, like if they have a stray 2 and somehow play it at a horrible time, like it can go well for you, but just lead the 2, right? Just lead from the trips there.
The only time I lead away from my trips is if it's a 9 or higher.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like you can get hurt bad.
Yeah. It's when in doubt, right? Lead from your trips, just because it is it is not very often that you're going to be able to get all of them in. And yeah, every once in a while you'll have like king, ace, 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 right? Or something like that, or king 3-3-3 or something. And you could somehow get them all in, but that's pretty rare. So, all right. So there's one agree there. We will keep it moving here. I also wonder, like, if we should be pulling these up as we go, or just doing this live on the show, but like these tables that we have that kind of gives like what the math answer is, but just fair thought. All right. So here's one that came via the mailbag from Ed May. And so you are first count in hole 48. Your opponent is dealing in hole 52. And I feel like this is kind of a common kind of, trouble spot that you see. The hand is 5, 7, 7, Jack, Queen, King. So I think I have a pretty strong opinion on this one. But I rate two roads to go here.
No hesitation from me. I'm tossing the sevens.
Yeah, I agree. Is there a spot on the board, right? Like, can you create a situation for me where you would break this? And if so, is it definitely king queen, or is there ever a king seven that could be part of that?
If I'm going to break it, I'd prefer the king seven, just because you got a jack and a queen there open ended. So you could still end up with 8 or 9 in a bunch of other scenarios. But I don't know. I'd have to be maybe 10 points further up at least. Like,
Yeah, it's one of those. It has to be like a max defense spot where it's like your hand doesn't really matter, but your opponent's hand does, right? Because every once in a while you get one of those where, like, I don't know, say your first count at like 74, right? And your opponent is dealing at, say, like 66, right? It's one of those spots where it's like, the risk does not weigh in and even then, I still really don't want to ditch 9 points to go all the way down to 4.
I would probably do it in that spot.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like, that's a pretty rare spot. So otherwise, like, just let that be known for anybody, right? Like, even if this is 7-8, I'm 100% throwing the 7-8 still here, right? You got to make a stand. You got to move on down the board. This is one of these where it's like, it hurts you only more to not do it that way. All right. Thank you for the submission there, Ed. All right. We'll get to, all right. This one came from Rachel Ray Welsh, who plays in the Houston club, and sent me this one actually via text message. Not that this was an interesting hand. So you are tied at 48. It is your opponent's crib, and you are dealt 2, 3, 3, 5, 6, 9. So I don't know if you have a strong feel on this one. This is a tight spot. It's kind of defense, in my opinion, right? Like, you're not really getting to 69 from here. But I don't know. Like, you've surprised me many times before, Terry Cushman. What do you like here?
Oh man,
right? These are the brutal ones, right? When it's like you have all number cards and none of them really go together. Like,
I'm torn right now between throwing deuce 6 or 6-9.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Sounds like you're not considering either one, but
no. Well, okay. I spoiler alert. One of those is my hold there.
Okay. I'm probably gonna throw deuce 6.
Okay. I agree. Mark us down for an agree. Yeah. Check it off.
On that one.
No, 6-2 I like there. To me, this is all defense, right? 48, right? You pick your cut card out of the deck, and you're still not getting to where you want to be by the end of this one, right? If you could, hold it, and you probably pulled 3, 3, 6, 9, and then cut a 3, I guess. But and you're still not getting home. You're still not getting to where you need to. If you're in a spot like that, just throw as defensively as you can. I think you could maybe make a case for 9-2 or 9-3 with the theorem of, right, if you're going to play D, play D. But I think 2-6 is kind of there's a cut at 12 there. A couple of them actually. So I just think that's the best way to play this one. But yeah, this is one of these. So it's like, man, I don't even have like a good discard. I don't even have like a discard. Sometimes I just want a hand. I don't even care if I get junked. Just give me a king 9 to throw.
Yeah, it's kind of a no man's land type spot, and you don't have an ideal throw from it. So, I mean, you could hold 6 points here, but you're throwing 5 deuce.
Yeah, and that's just, again, if my opponent's a little further back, I think you could, but I think you and I probably feel the same way, right? I hate those 3s, 6s, and 9s hands because there's just so few cuts that help you. Like, when they do, they're great, right? But yeah, they are, it's few and far between. Like, so I'd rather have a little bit of like a middle ground of, holding like 3, 3, 5, 9. I don't know, like, the 4 is great, the 3 is great, but then it's like the 9's still okay, the 6 is still okay, the ace is okay, right? You've got some things that are kind of, 7's not too bad there, although you're not thrilled about your crib. So it gives you some kind of more options to play with there.
Right.
All right. So this is like a miracle. I think we've had, all 3 hands we've agreed on. Like, what's going on? Like, check myself in the emergency room here. All right. Here's one I had at Grassroots this week. By the way, Grassroots this week, I had the good old, I won the first 4 games and then nothing. Here's one that I had. It is your crib, so you won the deal. Yes, I won the deal. Clearly, I'm at the advantage. And then you deal yourself 7, 7, 9, 10, king, queen. So a real clunker here. I think there's maybe even 3 possibilities here. I don't like any of them, for the record, but I'm curious if you feel strongly one way or the other about these.
I'm just gonna throw king queen here. I don't like anything. I wouldn't throw the 7s and keep myself with a potentially trappable pegging hand.
Yeah, I think that's a throw. That's where I ended up on too. So Marcus, but it's one of those, like, even like 9, 10 I thought about as like a possibility there, right? I don't think so. It's just one of these. It's just like, what a clunker to start with. What do they say? I read once, I think it was in one of the old Facebook threads, like the worst hand you can deal yourself is 4, 7, 9, 10, queen, king. So this is literally 1 card off from that. So yeah, it's like no hand. You don't even really have like a good draw. It's like cut the 8 and you feel brilliant, but still don't feel that good about it. So, all right. And maybe that one's not that hard, but I just thought maybe there was, cases to be made for the 7s, cases to be made for the 9, 10, kind of hedge your bets a little bit there. It's kind of hard to miss everything if you throw the 9, 10, but I think you're right. I think simple is best here. All right, here's another one. So you are first count in hole 104. So you are 17 out. Your opponent is dealing in hole 92, and you are dealt ace 4, 4, 5, 7, 10. So to me, this is a tight spot. I think there are a couple ways to do this. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd throw the ace 10 here. I mean, the 6 card should basically get you out. A 3 gets you close to out, especially if you can peg a couple here. And I mean, with 2 4s in my hand, ace 10 doesn't really scare me.
Yeah, I think that's the hold in this one as well. Right, the 6 cut, woohoo, right? It's basically winning the game. It is kind of an all defense spot, right? Maybe 10-7, I think is a reasonable second place here. I feel like if my face card weren't a 10, I'd feel a little better about that. And it's like, what's the best route for defense here? And again, maybe you see it differently you mentioned kind of the 3 and the 6 cut, but to me, this is all about like what's the ugliest stuff that I can throw. And I think 10 ace qualifies in that place. Just curious if would you ever lead anything other than the 4 from 4, 4, 5, 7, like any spot on the board, any situation? Like, would you ever lead a 7 there? Maybe there's one of these like in-game spots where like your opponent's dealing from like 9 out, 7 out or something. Maybe you lead the 5 to just get it the heck out of your hand.
I don't think from 4, 4, 5, 7 I would, but when I hold 4, 5, 6, 7, if I desperately need 3 points, sometimes I'll lead the 7 from that hand just to play the 6 on the 8 for 21 for 3. But that's probably the only exception.
Could you consider that? If you desperately needed 3 points, say you hold 4, 4, 5, 7 here, right? You brick the cut. Say the cut's up king, and you need 9 points, right? You maybe think about leading the 7, and that if they have all faces, you would peg 3, right? Play the 5, or if you need 2 points, right? Like if you play the 5, make it 22, right?
I've never honestly thought of it that way, but
yeah, I haven't really either until this moment, to be honest.
Yeah,
maybe that's a little sneaky trick.
You could get 2 maybe if they had a 5,
or get 3 if they have all faces, or like who knows? Maybe you can like trick them into doing something silly. So just a thought. Try to. This is to me is like the brilliance of like this is what like. I'm trying sometimes. This is something to think about when you're playing like Cribbage Pro or you're playing like side games or whatever it is. Just trying to if I do a hand different, right? Just a little different here or there, what could possibly happen? Like there's a trap that I will take credit for this one. I think I remember showing this one to like Voldemort, and it was like the first time I'd ever like mentioned a hand and he didn't think about it. And it's when you're dealer and you have 6, 6, 7, 8, right? I can't put the cards up on the screen here. I didn't think about this, but so in that, but it has to be that specific hand, right? Like 6, 6, 7, 8. Like if your opponent leads a face, you can play the 6, right? Which you a lot of times would think would be a blunder in that spot. Because if they play a face card, right, then you've given them a free 31 if they have 3 faces and a 5. But Terry Cushman, if they have 2 5s, you smash them in that spot. You smash them by playing the 6, because then they play their second face card. You say go, they play their 5, and then you play your 6. You lead, the 7 or the 6, and they must play their other 5. And then you get a run for 3 and then a run for 4 as well. So
that's never occurred to me either.
Yeah, that's one I stumbled into a few years ago. And so I will dub that the Matheny from this point on, if somebody else wants to lay claim to it. In fact, I think I had another player once, like it came up in like conversation. I'm like, wait, no, I have receipts. Like I knew this one before. Like, none of us, it's cards. Nobody has a patent on it, but that's the Matheny. I will, if somebody has receipts on that one before, they can claim it, I guess. So, all right, here's another one. So you are first count in hole 81. Your opponent is dealing in hole 70. And the lovely hand you're dealt here is 3, 4, 7, 8, Jack, Jack. So
my gut instinct right away was to throw the jacks, but having thought of it for an extra millisecond, I'll probably keep 7, 8, Jack, Jack.
Okay, interesting. This is one of these. I like this hand in particular, because I feel like there are a lot of routes here. I like Jack 7 here. So we can mark that one down as a mild disagree. It's like a 1 chili pepper disagree. Because to me, this is an all defense spot again. Like I'm not, hardcore position player, but these are one of these spots, right? They're dealing right on hole 70. Like I just think that it's one of those I mentioned before. It doesn't really matter what my hand is. It matters much more what my opponent's hand is. And I think that, right, like if you break this hand and you don't hold, like any of the, what is it? It's 3 2-card hands. I think I've called these before. And if you throw any of those 2, then you are really, really putting yourself at risk. Right, 3, 4, 7, 8, Jack, Jack. No, nobody's throwing 7, 8 from here, but so instead, I think I'd rather just break it, hold 2, and not throw something risky to my opponent's crib. So like throw Jack 7, because I think I'd rather just have 2 points rather than 0 points. But
yeah, that's probably a better way to do it, honestly, because your ceiling is what, 9, the way I held it. But
right. Cut the rate 8 or the rate 7 there, I guess, is 9 points. Yeah.
Or a 5 even, but
cut the rate 5. Yeah.
So I get it. You still have a ton of pathways to 6 or 7, which is realistically what you would have anyway. So
I think it's funny, like you mentioned, like instinctually you just want to throw the jacks from there. And I do agree, like most spots other than this, I think I just hold my nose and throw the jacks. Like I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
But right, that 3, 4, 7, 8 is it's not a bad little pegging hand as non-dealer, right?
Right.
Got routes for offense and defense there. But yeah, I think it just in these ones, I don't like it, but I think I just have to break it here. All right, we're moving on here. I think the rest of the hands, I think there might be one other from the mailbag. So this is another one of these. I had a lot of these this weekend. The good old 3 2-card hands. So you are first count. You're non-dealer in hole 22. Your opponent is dealing in hole 18. And the hand is 2, 2, 5, 7, 7, Jack. This to me was tougher, like, because one of these, I didn't really like any of my options. And I don't even know like the best way to do this.
I'm gonna throw the deuces and just hope for a middle here. that is
Okay.
on a 9, I guess.
Okay. Tell me more. Like,
I'm a little bit ahead. It's an aggressive move, but I'm just gonna throw the deuces, lead the jack. Hopefully I can pair something. I would love it if they dropped the 7 down on my jack, but
or three.
or
Or
3.
three, or three if you threw the deuces, right? Like,
True. Yeah, because
yeah.
the crib will be lighter. But yeah, I'm just willing to risk it here. I've got a lot of the game to try to be even more aggressive to make up ground. I'm not going to be in position either way here, and they most likely will. So, yeah, I think I've got a decent pathway to get 8 to 10, holding 5, 7, 7 jack.
Okay. All right. Mark's down for a disagree here, and this is it's not a 3 chili pepper disagree. It's not like a Thai spicy disagree, but it's like a jalapeno level disagree, I would say here.
Okay.
I think just jack 7 here. Just throw the 2 ugliest ones you can and just move on. Move on to the next hand. That was something that I feel like I kind of took away from. I'm giving him too much credit here on this show, but Voldemort is just early on hands like this, just limit the damage and move on. Play another hand. And I feel like 2s there is it's a little too spicy for my taste. It's a little too risky. Like I'm all for in this game embracing risk, but I need to have reward for that risk. And to me, a gutter, as they call it in, I believe in poker, right? Just cutting the gut of the 6 for 10 points, or 11 if you cut the right 6. It's just not enough. Like even my quote unquote good cuts are like 8 here. It just doesn't thrill me. That I feel like if I really want to go risky with this, and I need points, I might just throw the jack 5. But I think in this spot, you just break it and move on to the next hand. You've got a 3 card 19 there with 2-2-7, 2-2-5-7, right? You don't like the hand. But there are routes to, a 6 cuts, 11 points there, right? It's more points than holding it your way. 2-2-5-7 there. So just food for thought. All right.
Fair enough.
We will move on. And so you are first count in hole 90. Or I'm sorry, you were dealing from hole 97 here. Your opponent is first count in hole 103. So you're trying to deal out from 24. Your opponent is first count 18 out. And at first glance, maybe this one seems easy. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but the hand is 3-4-5-7 king king.
I'm tossing the kings.
Okay. No hesitation, no other consideration at all.
You could throw 3-4, but that just typically doesn't work out too well for me. And I don't think 5-7 king king is going to peg particularly well. So yeah, I just like the king king here.
Could I sell you on 3-7 or something, or anything else, or like I said, 3-4 there? Nothing at all. Okay, I do agree. Okay, all right. It's kind of what I thought. My only concern, and I can spots like these, right? And something else that kind of came into my mind. It's like I try to scribble these down at club and things like that. But it's one of these where it's like them at 103. Like, I feel like I'm gonna win this game more often than I lose this game for sure. But it's 3-4-5-7 is dealer, right? You get a little trouble in the pegging on this one, right? They lead a 6 or something, and then you don't feel great about any of your routes. Like, so I'm not thrilled about 2 kings to my crib there being real hit or miss. Is it one of those where like if the cut is something that doesn't really help, doesn't like smash his cut, are you just whacking everything? Like what's your mentality from like this kind of spot and kind of as we approach like end game? Like are you just pairing everything? If they lead a 4, are you pairing it? If they lead a 3, are you pairing it?
It depends on the cut, but if
let's say the cut isn't helpful. I think everything gets not a 2, but let's say cuts like not a 2 or 9, but let's say it's like an ace, right?
Probably gonna be aggressive then, yeah.
Okay. So, but if you hit the cut well, so say the cut's like a 4, then maybe you think it could, and they lead the 3. Do you maybe ponder the 5 or the 7 maybe?
I may drop the 7 to pair a 5 or something. I don't know if I jump on the first thing.
Okay. Right. Because in this spot, right, I think we've all lost games from this spot being too aggressive. Right. You pair something you shouldn't, they trip it, they have a 12-point hand. All of a sudden it's like, wow, I lost that game. I can't believe I lost that game. So, okay. I do agree ultimately on the Kings in this one, but there's a little nuance in this one, in my opinion. All right. So here's another one is your opponent's crib. So your first count in hole 56, your opponent is dealing in hole 68 and the hand, and there is a flush here, is 4, 4, 7, 8, 9, king. And your flush cards would be 4, 7, 9, king. So your opponent's crib. And this is one of these when I was like writing them down, I was like, this one seems, I don't think there's much question here as I like relook at this one, but again, maybe I'm wrong. So, but
I have a feeling we're gonna disagree, but I kind of like the 9 king here because the 7 or 8 gets me to at least 10. 4 gets me 14. A 3 will give me 10. The only card that really burns me is a 6 or a 9, but I'm still going to come out of this with 9 points and hopefully a little bit of pegging. So
I'm going to surprise you even more because I do agree. Yeah, I think that's the only way to do this one in hindsight. Like you could maybe make a case for king 4. I think what we can agree upon here is the flush is not really in consideration.
No, it just doesn't flow.
Yeah, it's just not a helpful flush. But I think they're the only two routes here, either king 4 or king 9, and king 9's just, eminently more defensive. Sometimes I don't love 4, 4, 7, 8 just because it's one of those spots, right? It's just not a ton of cuts to hit. And this is a spot where you need a hand, right? Like it's almost like I need, it's the old tennis break. Like I'm down a break in tennis. I need a hit and my opponent to miss. So I got to hit this cut and have my opponent miss it. What's the best route for that? Probably the king 9. So I think that's how this one is to be done. We're super agreeable today. This is concerning to me. Like, I don't know how I feel about this.
7-2. 7.
Okay. I didn't realize we had 2 disagreements. Okay. And then we're back to the original here. So 7-2. Okay. I'm looking at these. I'm trying to remember what the other one we disagreed on. Oh yeah. The 2 like defensive ones back to back. Yeah. Yeah. You were dead wrong on those. So you're almost perfect today, Terry. Like you were only wrong twice. That's check back with the emailer who keeps like the total track of how much they agree or disagree with us.
Kevin Anderson.
Kevin, yes. Thank you for remembering that. I am so bad with names. But yeah, fun show this week. Hey man, I'm so happy for like you popping out there to Wisconsin. I gotta give Frischman and the rest of the Midwesterners shame for not, like, I don't know why you get the shout and I don't. Like, I guess it's, but that's all right. That's after you go down there and scooped all their money and like maybe you won't get the invite next year. You just get like the toss out. So.
Well, I got a lot of invites to more tournaments out there. I don't know if I'll be able to hit any, but this calendar year anyway. But yeah, it was good. But they did a good job. Wayne Steinmetz ran it, and
Hall of Famer Wayne Steinmetz. Yeah, Frosty is too, I believe. So
one of his co-directors, and just everybody did a great job. Al Carr, Marlene did a lot of the cross-checking. And I had like 3 or 4 people ask me if I had a ride to the airport. So everybody super accommodating.
Yeah, it's lovely our little community does that. Like I feel like it's a group. It's like raising, they say a community raises a child or whatever it is, right? It's the same stuff. Like I feel like there's not many cribbage tournaments I can imagine going to where it's like if I needed a ride to or from something or something happens that somebody wouldn't like step up and be like, yeah, sure, I'll give you a ride. But I do really like that about our kind of group. So, all right. Well, I will sincerely be rooting for you now in Asheville, which is this weekend coming up.
This
coming weekend. Okay. I will be double extra rooting for you in that one so that you sneak down to Fort Walton and who knows, maybe we could do some like live stuff from down there. Maybe we'll try to talk about doing that in Phoenix as well. And again, just a reminder, we will the email box, cribbagepodcast@gmail.com, or, like, subscribe, comment, all those things on whatever platform you're seeing this on. I think a lot of people kind of get this stuff from your links on Facebook, or just from like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. We're everywhere now. We're ubiquitous, Terry Cushman. And what else was I going to say? Oh, yeah. And a reminder about the long match. We'll be doing the drawing, I think 2 weeks from today, maybe 3 weeks from today. We will do the drawing live on the air, or live for us, I guess. We're recorded live. Maybe we'll, David Hayes or whoever else wants to sneak in. You know how they do in like the NBA lottery? They have like like an officiant who like watches the whole thing and makes sure everything's on the up and up. Maybe we'll have somebody on that to make sure when we do the drawing for the bracket that there's not, any funny business going on. I'll have to bug like Megan Player to see what they do for that, for like the National Open. You ever like witness that draw or anything like that? It's like a computer program is the way they do it, I think, right?
I don't know, actually. I think they do it there. It's behind closed doors, and it's usually on Thursday or Friday night. Probably Friday.
Right. I know there's like an event, and I think there was a thing where they, had some people like in there to like, announce it, or like to, raise money and all for that, like find ways to like recoup costs of tournaments and things like that. But I don't know how they like physically do it, right? Like I feel like maybe for ours, like we'll probably do something like an online like thing that pulls it. But part of me wants to like get out like the ping pong balls or whatever, or,
Yeah.
Do you watch any like the World Cup draw that they did? Like it was like a month ago, where they had the little balls in the jar and they like pull out the countries' names and stuff. And those things are neat. Like maybe we can figure out a way to do that. So I don't know. We'll bounce some ideas back and forth, but we'll have details on the format of that and all the other like stuffs that we're doing with that. So keep if you have emailed us, confirm with your entry. I've tried to like respond back to everybody and like confirm, but I'll make sure that everybody that wants in gets in before we like close it up too much. So speaking of closing it up, again, congrats again, Terry, on win number 20. Like, did you ever dream that you'd win 20 tournaments in your whole life? Like when you were like up there in Maine?
No, I mean, winning tournaments is hard, like I've said so many times. And, and where it took me so long to win my first one, 10 years, literally. And there was a lot of inactivity in there, but you just appreciate it so much more. And I think 20 is really the big milestone number. Like when you look at the list of people who've won 20 and above, they're some of the best to ever play the game. So, I don't think 30 will feel amazing, trust me, but I don't know. I just think 20 is the one that feels the most solidifying, I think.
Well, now I want to look at the list of those who have won like 20 or more. Like this big official list is, as we get you on there. And we got time, so I can do that. What is it? I see, let's see, 20 or more. I see 84 names. Well, now 85 names, because I don't think they have yours in here yet. So 84 names. So 85 names on that list. So we're not reading off 84 names on this program, but yeah, most of these
very solid.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't see any like weak sauce names on there. Other than yours, I guess, at this point. So, but I'm trying to think if there's a number that's like the number. And I'm just looking at like the top 10. I'd say maybe 50 is a big number, because there are 9 people who have won 50 tournaments. So you think you could name them off the top of your head? Just before we go off the air. Yeah. See if you can get the big 9.
I think I can get them. Let's see. So you got Delin, Locke, Toll.
Yep, that's 1, 2, 3. Not in that order. That's Toll, of course, still Toll, Locke, and Delin. 124, 102, 93. Yep. Okay.
Simon Drone.
Size 7th. Langley's 4th with 81.
Let's go. Who am I missing? Probably Roland.
Yep, Roland Hall in there, 5th at 76. I'll give you a clue.
Widener.
8. Yep, Heath Widener is 8th. 8 of these 9 are in the Hall of Fame.
That doesn't help me at this point. So I've got 8, so I feel like I've done good. But
I believe you have 7 of them so far. I believe you
7.
mentioned Dwayne Toll, Eric Locke, Dylan Tolbert, Jim Langley, Roland Hall, Simon Jerome, and Keith Widener.
Okay.
Do you want regions?
How about Larry Pfeiffer?
Larry Pfeiffer is 9th, and he is the only one of those that is not in the Hall of Fame.
And what about Wayne Steinmetz?
Nope. Wayne is 17th. The only other one that is a West Coast player who has won the national title before. You're going to kick yourself. It's easy for me looking at the list, but.
Oh, probably. Jeez. What state?
California.
I don't know. I will kick myself, but go ahead.
Bob Bartosh. So Bob, next time you see Terry, just crack him a couple of times for being the one. 66 wins for Bob. So I'll run through those again. So Dwayne Toll 124 wins, Eric Locke 102, Dylan Colvert 93, Jim Langley 81, Roland Hall 76, Bob Bartosh 66, Simon Jerome 64, Keith Widener 60, Larry Pfeiffer 54. Next on that list with 49, Voldemort. So
49. I thought he was close, but I just didn't remember seeing him in there.
Yeah, but yeah, hey man, 20 wins is awesome, and I agree. It's a big number, and like again, I don't see many like weak sauce winners on this list. So congrats to anybody who's ever won any tournament for the record. But
what is 30 ranked?
Like how many people have 30? Or
what number would they be ranked?
29th, ironically.
Yeah. So you start leapfrogging quite a bit with every tournament, but
Yep. So yeah. So some very, very, very good players in these lists, no doubt. So all right, well, we will sign off for this week. Thank you everybody for listening. Again, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But more than anything, hit us at the email cribbagepodcast@gmail.com. And go win 20 tournaments and beat Terry Cushman's record. So all right, everybody, good week. Be safe out there.